welcome back to my garden. As you probably saw in the beginning of the video there, I was just topping off a couple of beds with some raised bed mix so I can start my fall planting, because that's what we're doing today. We're starting some fall planting. As a quick note, in previous years, what I would do for my fall/winter planting was I'd plant carrots out here in the raised beds, because I discovered that carrots can take a frost. Carrots can even be buried under snow as long as that snow melts within a couple of days, as I learned last year when we had 8 inches of snow, and a couple of days later the snow melted and my carrots were fine. As long as the ground doesn't freeze, I'm sure carrots will just continue to grow, or they're not buried under snow for prolonged periods of time. But as I just mentioned, my carrots they went through several frosts, several freezes, and they got buried under 8 inches of snow last year. A couple of days later, when the snow all melted, they were fine. And when I harvested them, I think I harvested them, if you guys remember, let me know in the comments below, but I think it was late January, maybe even February. Might have been February, because they were slow growing because of the frosts and freezes that we had, which stunted their growth, but they were growing. They slowed down. Anyways, what I normally then did was I have a box that I put up on the bench in the greenhouse, and I would grow my greens in there, lettuce, spinach, etc. And last year, because of the extreme colds and the greenhouse is unheated, they didn't really grow all that well, if at all. It was very sad. I had the spinach did the best, but the rest of it was just didn't really grow and didn't taste good what did grow. So this year I'm trying something different. I will be planting my carrots out here in the raised beds as normal, but I'm going to be planting my greens out here. And one of the reasons being is that this year I'm going to build my potting shed on the other side of the greenhouse. We'll talk more about that in the future. But I have a lot of potted plants this year, stuff that I grew in pots for the back deck that I want to bring into the greenhouse to protect them from frosts and freezes over the winter. Which means the greenhouse is going to get pretty full pretty quick. So if I can save as much space as possible in the greenhouse, a la not having a 2 foot by 3 foot wide big thing box filled with soil in there, all the better. The downside to growing out here, as I just mentioned before, is I do get frosts and freezes. But that's where this comes in. This is my old, battered, ratty, tatty cold frame. So my plan is, I've already placed it on the ground here, and I have basic outline of where the cold frame will sit. So I'm going to plant my greens in here that are a little more tender and will not take a frost or a freeze here in this space where the cold frame was. And if and when we get to the point where there's going to be a freeze or a frost and these guys are still growing, I will take the cold frame and drop it right on top. I'm not going to do it today because, well, today is 80 degrees. And it's quite warm, and it's going to be that way for a little while. And around the perimeter, I'm going to plant a couple of things which are more cold tolerant. Enough prattling. First thing I'm going to be planting up is Hamburg lettuce hybrid. I got this from Burpee, and it says an innovative and delightfully crunchy cross between romaine and iceberg. Small, compact heads featuring large hearts. Fits nicely into patio planters and large pots. Harvest in about 70 days. So 70 days would put us into that chance of frost or freeze. So we're gonna plant some of this out. It says rows 12 inches apart, but it doesn't say how far apart each plant should be. So I'm gonna do a couple of rows here. I've never grown this variety of lettuce before. Again, this is Hamburg hybrid lettuce. If you guys have done this before, let me know in the comments below. I love Burpee seeds, but getting the envelopes open sometimes is a trick, and I just wind up tearing the top off. These are very fine seeds. So they say they're small and they say they're compact. So I think what I'm going to do is just a couple of rows here, maybe about 12 inches apart, maybe 3 rows. Let's try 3 rows. We're going to live large and we're going to live dangerous. And I'm just going to sprinkle some of these seeds in here. I have no idea what will come up, and I'm sure that I will have to come back and thin to give each head space to grow. So that's that. I failed to create, ooh, it's a big piece of wood. We're gonna get rid of that. I failed to create labels. So yeah, I always say label your stuff this way you know it's growing. So we're just going to take this, close it up, and what I'll do is I will just put it right here for the time being and then I will come back and label it in a second. The next thing that we're planting, this one is from Epic Gardening, and this is Spinach America, or America Spinach, I don't know. If you guys have grown this before, let me know. If mulched, spinach can overwinter in sub-zero temperatures. I have found that spinach, I grew another variety of spinach a couple of years ago, and I did find that that could handle several light frosts. So we're going to do a couple of rows of this. I have all sorts of insects flying around here today. It is warm, and I think that a lot of the insects, bees, wasps, etc., feel the onrush of fall. So they're running around doing their things. I'm going to try something else too. I'm going to plant outside of the area where the cold frame will be. And so I'm going to take some of the spinach seeds, since I have plenty of them, and I think I'm just going to take these and just stick them and press them into the ground here. And I'm kind of going to go along the perimeter here. This is a bit of an experiment for me. I've never done this before. And I thought to myself, wouldn't this be kind of neat just to try something different? It's one of the things I like about gardening. There are certain hard and fast rules, but otherwise you can just play around, have fun, plant things out. If it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, well, a packet of seeds is anywhere from $3 to $5. It's not that expensive. I still have plenty of seed left over right now. The other thing I'm going to sow is salad bowl lettuce. It says here, an All-American Selections winner. This is from Burpee, by the way. Crisp and tender, slow to bolt. So if it gets hot out in the next month or so, if we have a sort of like an Indian summer, these guys shouldn't bolt. And it says non-heading, so it's I guess what do you call that? A pick and come again? So you can just tear off leaves as you need them. And it says harvest in about 45 days. This is important because of that freeze window. Again, my first freeze should land somewhere, maybe possibly around the middle of November. May come a little sooner, may come a little later, depending upon which way the wind blows. So I'm going to try planting out some of this salad bowl around the perimeter of where I plan on having the cold frame. Rows 12 inches apart, depth 1/4 inch. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe just come a little closer to the edge. I'm going to try that. Just a little closer to the edge because I planted the spinach seeds sort of in the middle. So we're going to go a little closer to the edge here. I don't know what will germinate, what will not germinate. According to NOAA, the long-range forecast for the month of October, November, December is we're going to be warmer and drier than average. Now the drier part I think will be a little tricky, but being here in the veg garden, and this is the first space I come into every single day in the garden, this is sort of the heart of the garden. I'll come in here, and if the soil is getting too dry, if we haven't had rain, I'll water. And if it's too cold for the hoses, or if I already put the hoses up for the year, I have my water butts and water cans, and then I'll just water the beds as needed. Hopefully once all this stuff starts germinating and coming up, I'll come back and I will mulch around all of the plants that I intend on keeping. I'll mulch it with grass, just a thin layer, maybe a 1/2 inch to 1 inch thick. It will provide a little bit of insulation, so if and when we do get those frosts and freezes, if the roots are warmer, then the plants should be happier. We'll see. There's one more thing I want to plant in here before I pack it in for this bed. I know I'm doing a lot of talking here today, but that's some calendula. I have a bed full of calendula already growing elsewhere in the vegetable garden, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But I just thought it might be fun just to plant some calendula out in this bed, because when I'm in the greenhouse, see all the stuff that's growing in this bed, see the calendula. Calendulas, as long as they get a good rooting, and we don't get too heavy of a frost or a freeze, they'll be okay. I've had calendulas actually survive an entire winter down here. So it just might be fun to see a splash of color in this bed. So on the outer edge, we'll have the one lettuce. In the middle, we'll have the spinach. And up against the cold frame, we'll have the calendulas. Oh, by the way, this is Ball's Orange Calendula. I think I got the seeds off of Amazon last year or this year. Can't remember. Seeds are sown. I still obviously have to label and water this bed, so let me do that now. And I'm just going to put this tag here towards the outside. Get that tucked in there. There you go. So that's this bed. I'm going to show you the calendula bed, and then we're going to plant some carrots. In this bed here, just because I could, and just because I wanted to, I planted a bunch of calendula. Now last year when I planted my calendula, it was a little too late in the season, and we got some pretty strong frosts early on, and the calendula that I planted did not survive. This year, as you can see, I have calendula coming out, which is wonderful. On the back half of the bed towards you guys, I just planted some more calendula. So hopefully this whole bed should be overflowing with beautiful orange flowers. So with all that being said, let's go plant some carrots. Back over here in this bed here, I have a singular green bean, Blue Lake 47 bean plant that actually grew and survived and thrived when none of the others in this bed did. It's very sad, but I've been picking beans off of it. Me and Sophie have been enjoying them. In the back, along the trellis there, was supposed to be a lemon cucumber. It failed to grow. I replanted recently, and I do have, I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but I have some plants coming up. I don't know if the season's going to be long enough for them to grow up and then produce fruit. Maybe not, but I figured take a couple of seeds, stick it in the ground. What's the worst that happens? Once all this is done, this bed I will add more raised bed mix too, and then this bed will get filled with carrot seeds as well. But in this bed right here, I'm planting one variety of carrot seeds, and I'm filling the whole bed with carrots, and that is Scarlet Nantes. Now I have from my local vendor, brand called Page's Seeds, and then I have from Botanical Interests, I have the same variety, Scarlet Nantes. Just going to simply make rows. I leave about 8 to 10 inches between the rows. I've done this before. It seems to have worked out quite well in the past. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I think we'll squeeze another row in here. Now what I like to do here with my carrot seeds is overseed. I don't know about you guys. Leave the comments below. Let me know how you grow your carrots and what your experiences have been. But in my experience, I would say I've generally have about a 50% germination rate with my carrot seeds. Maybe it's the seeds I'm using, not sure. So what I like to do is come in and just oversow. I can always thin out the babies and then leave an inch or two between each of the carrots as they grow. Sometimes the packets don't have a lot of seeds in them, depends upon the vendor. Some of the vendors go by count with the seeds, other vendors go by weight. So I'm never quite sure of what I'm gonna get. So I got 2 packets of the Scarlet Nantes here to fill in. I'm just sprinkling these right in here. Now say I just ran out of seeds, and I still have 2 rows to go. Cover the rows. So as I mentioned a moment ago, I will be planting more carrot seeds over in this bed over here, and I may plant carrot seeds in yet another bed. But I'm definitely gonna have 2 beds of carrots and maybe even a third one. You know what? I will have a third one because when the basil, tomatoes, and peppers all come out of their bed, I'll put some carrots over there. So I'll have 3 beds of carrots going. Last year I think I had 2, maybe 3, I can't remember. Either way, we're going 3 beds of carrots this year. It's going to be awesome. I've had very good luck growing my carrots in my raised beds over the last few years. So hopefully that trend will continue. And then hopefully I'm harvesting these in 65 days. So we're in September, October. So these may be November-ish, maybe December. Let's say December. If I plant the others over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're looking at December, January probably, which is fine because as it gets colder, the carrots will get sweeter. And I don't know about you, but I love myself some sweet carrots. I had to retreat here underneath the shade cloth next to the greenhouse. It's about 81 today, which is a little warm, but it's that time of year. We're getting into the fall. We're going to be heading into winter before you know it. It is September. Clock is ticking. I can already hear it. As I said before, there's a ton of cleanup to do out in the flower garden and all around the garden itself. But hopefully maybe starting in November, December, we'll have to see how things shake out. I will be starting my greenhouse. Maybe it'll take me a week, maybe it'll take me a month. I'm not sure. I've never built a shed before, and there's some very specific things that I want out of this shed that you don't get out of a standard built shed, as it were. I'll talk more about that when I actually kick off the project. There will be a kickoff video where I will explain a lot of my thinking, my thoughts, my processes. And then of course there'll be the building videos. And with the building videos, I'm not going to do a step-by-step how-to. I'll just show me putting up walls and this, that. And the fun part will be at the end when I do a fitting out of the interior. So that'll be the potting bench, that'll be all the other shelving that I have going up. There will be a pot wall, and it's going to have its own individual shelving. I think that'll be fun. There's going to be a tool wall, and I'm going to try to set it up in such a way that it's very organized, and hopefully in a way that I can keep it organized. So the other guys will have to tune in for all of that, which is why I always tell you guys, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video. This way you can follow along with what I'm doing here in the garden, what antics I'm up to. Maybe it's something you're interested in, maybe it's something you're not interested in. But at least if you hit the subscribe button, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, you'll be notified when I do post a new video, and then you can check for yourself to see if it's something that you're interested in. Somewhere Sophie's running around here. I don't know if she's been in the video today. She is running around doing schnauzer things. So with all that being said, I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.